Imagine you're Satoshi Nakamoto. You have just invented a new monetary system, which you believe can become a global monetary standard of consequence. How do you distribute the coins? You could email them to your friends, but that would create a tiny group of privileged elites and compromise the credibility of the system. You could simply claim the coins for yourself, but most likely no one will adopt a monetary system where a single individual controls the vast majority of the wealth. Satoshi's solution was to distribute the coins by creating a game in which miners surrender something valuable, energy, in exchange for the right to claim them. Incidentally, this mirrors the way gold mining works. Gold is a commodity sitting in ore underground, but it takes a huge amount of work to actually extract it from the earth. This is one of the features that makes gold an excellent monetary good. It's hard to mine. Similarly, Bitcoin mining is a synthetic approximation of gold mining. Instead of sifting rock, you're sifting through mathematical space. With this in mind, you might begin to understand why issuance had to be done by provably burning energy, because Satoshi had no other way to fairly, and in a decentralized manner, issue new units of digital value to the world.
Quick side note. Hey guys, I'm Drew. I turn the most important essays on Bitcoin into documentaries so more people can learn from them. This video is a summary of the writings of Nick Carter, read by the man himself. Subscribe if you want to support our mission.
Let's start with the basics. Many people, when decrying Bitcoin's energy footprint, point out its energy consumption and presume that someone, somewhere, is being deprived of electricity because of this rapacious asset. Not only is this not the case, but Bitcoin's presence in many jurisdictions doesn't affect the price of energy at all because the energy there isn't actually being used. How could this be? Well, the first thing to understand is that energy is not globally fungible. Electricity is expensive to transport. Globally, about 8% of electricity is lost in transit. This is why we talk about an energy grid. You have to produce it virtually everywhere it's consumed, especially near to population centers. When you consider Bitcoin's energy intake, interesting patterns emerge. New data from the Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance has confirmed what we effectively already knew. China is the epicenter of Bitcoin mining, and the results are revealing. Sichuan, second only in the hash power rankings to Xinjiang, is a province characterized by a massive overbuild of hydroelectric power in the last decade. Sichuan's installed hydro capacity is double what its power grid can support, leading to lots of curtailment or waste. Dams can only store so much potential energy in the form of water before they must let it out. It's an open secret that this otherwise wasted energy has been put to use mining Bitcoin. If your local energy cost is effectively zero, but you cannot sell your energy anywhere, the existence of a global buyer for energy is a godsend. There is historical precedent for this phenomenon. Other commodities have been used to export energy, effectively smoothing out ripples in the global energy market. Before Bitcoin, aluminum served this purpose. For example, Iceland produces renewable geothermal energy, often in remote places. This leads to an excess supply that cannot reach the demand, as energy doesn't travel well over long distances. Iceland took advantage of their excess energy by producing aluminum, which requires a very energy-intensive process. Iceland effectively turns excess energy into durable store of value, aluminum, which can be exported. Bitcoin does the same thing. Instead of stranded energy dying on the vine, producers can mine Bitcoin or just sell excess energy to miners. This too enables excess energy production to be turned into a durable store of value. The second order effect here is that Bitcoin is effectively subsidizing renewable energy projects. Bitcoin thrives on the margins, where energy is lost or curtailed. Another common mistake energy detractors make is to naively extrapolate Bitcoin's energy consumption to the equivalent CO2 emissions. What matters is the type of energy source being used to generate electricity, as they're not homogeneous from a carbon footprint perspective. The academic efforts that get breathlessly reported in the press tend to assume an energy mix which is invariant at the global or country level. Even though Bitcoin is mined heavily in China, it's not appropriate to map China's generic CO2 footprint to Bitcoin mining. As discussed, Bitcoin miners seek out otherwise curtailed energy, like hydropower in Sichuan, which is relatively green. Any reliable estimate must take this into account. The next worst thing critics do is compare Bitcoin transactions to Visa. In one Bloomberg article, the author states, quote, "One Bitcoin transaction would generate the CO2 equivalent to 706,765 swipes of a Visa credit card," end quote. But the energy exchange rate methodology the author relies on is completely mistaken. Bitcoin transactions are not equivalent to Visa transactions. They are different in both form and substance. First of all, Bitcoin and Visa are fundamentally different systems. Bitcoin is a complete, self-contained monetary settlement system. Visa transactions are non-final credit transactions that rely on external underlying settlement rails. Visa relies on ACH, Fedwire, SWIFT, the global correspondent banking system, the Federal Reserve, and of course, the military and diplomatic strength of the US government to ensure that all of the above are working smoothly. Any energy comparison must take the above into account, including the externalities from the extraction of oil, which implicitly backs the dollar. As those who make this comparison inevitably fail to mention, the dollar's ubiquity is partly due to a covert arrangement whereby the US provides military support to countries like Saudi Arabia that agree to sell oil exclusively for dollars. It's worth noting that the grossly oversized US military, whose presence worldwide is necessary to backstop the international dollar system, is the largest single consumer of oil worldwide. Bitcoin transactions, by contrast, rely just on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's energy footprint is highly transparent, and this provides fertile ammunition for critics who can easily estimate the externalities of Bitcoin while insisting no equivalent ones exist for the dollar system, but the two systems are different. Bitcoin is a full-stack monetary and payment system. Visa is a thin layer within the international dollar system, and it's wholly reliant on seamless interoperability with the rest of the payments and settlement pyramid. Until Visa marshals its own private armies to keep the integrity of the dollar intact, the comparison will be a specious one. If you look at the actual characteristics of Bitcoin transactions as compared with Visa, their differences are clear. While both systems transmit millions of dollars of value per year, they do so in radically different ways. Visa facilitates IOUs between users and merchants. Bitcoin is the entire monetary system. So next time you open an article on Bitcoin's energy consumption, ask yourself, would this person pass Bitcoin 101? If the answer is no, you can safely discard his or her opinion.
Hey guys, Drew again. Subscribe if you want me to make more videos like this. And go read the rest of Nick Carter's articles for a deeper dive. Link in the description.